Hello, and welcome back to some good old programming. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope everyone's had a good day so far. Hope everyone had a nice day off yesterday as well. Well, middle of the week. Day off for me. Alright. Alright. Sorry, getting set up at the moment. I hope that's fine with everyone. So, I hope everyone's been enjoying the game so far. Had a little bit of feedback here and there. Released a patch between the first stream and now. So, make sure that if you have been trying out the game, you have a look at that patch because it does introduce a bunch of improvements to tooltips. Was the big thing. So now a lot more abilities and weapons have their correct or more correct tooltips. I would probably need to go through and still check a few of them, but things should no longer be just titled not working is basically the thing, because they were working, they just didn't have a description yet. And some of the descriptions are not exactly the most the best, but you know, they work. That's the short of it. So, with that being the case, based on the video that we also posted to the games channel, we talked a lot about a roadmap. So if you haven't checked that out, it's worthwhile having a watch of that video to get a general gist of what's going on. And at the back end of the video, there is talk about the current loose concept roadmap. So I would recommend having a look at that if you're interested. Sorry, just sorting something out. Okay. So yeah, potentially have a quick squiz at that. Hey, oh. Sorry. Okay. There we go. But yes, hello. So what we're going to be working on primarily moving forward, is bosses. How's the game? Game's doing well. I'm happy that we have the current update now out. And now I'm in the state of working off of branches and stuff now to try and actually work on the next bit of content for the game. But I've gotten mostly positive responses, with outside of like some errors that exist in the game. Haven't heard of any crashes yet, which is good. I've just heard of some of the things not working quite as intended. Couple of little kinks in the process still, which is not too surprising, right? But yeah, so we're going to be working on bosses. Now, I'm going to mention this now. We have a pretty substantial list of bosses to pull from for ideas. If I had a computer, I'd download the game. All good, all good. Just posted your third video. Nice, Vendor. Doing well. So, outside of potential tweaks that are going to need to be made to the way boss objects are handled, which is going to probably be the predominant thing we do initially, We have this sprite here that I'm going to be using. This is just going to be a default sprite. This is not actually a boss. This is just intended for, I don't have the boss asset currently. So we run that. Hope that's understandable. It's literally just going to be my like default while I'm making these. So, which of these do I want to work on first? I should probably work on some of the more simple ones, but I do kind of want to work on this one's mechanic. We'll work on this one? Yeah, we'll work on this one first. So we'll need to get the prep work done. So one of the biggest issues we have currently is that a lot of stuff was manually done on the boss party animal because of how enemies are done typically. And that's a problem. This brings up a big kind of notable fact that at the moment there's a lot of things that aren't actually done on enemies that should be. One of the examples is, technically speaking, they don't actually have a base health value. What I mean by this is if we actually go to the enemy parent here, this is basically what the parent enemies are. There's no health value here, or a lot of values are missing. Now you might go, well, how is enemies working at all then? That is because in the unit list, we have all of the values getting pushed through from here. So we basically forcefully create them on the event of constructing them via the things here. This specifically here is enemy set stats from struct. This is what we're doing. This is the problem. This is what we need to fix. We need to change how this is approached. So it's either what we need to do. We basically need to change how a lot of this is kind of handled. And the general approach that we want for these enemies. So the reasoning why I'm saying this is because this system works, but this only works in a very narrow field comparative to what we probably want it to. We want this to work in a lot more cases. Which leads to some issues. Oh, Jesus, kid. So, I need to read over some of this and discover how I want to kind of approach these. Because in the short of it is, we're probably going to kind of rewrite almost all of this with the ability to accommodate bosses involved. It will likely, what we're going to probably do, realistically, is we're going to probably make another enemy struct thing like this, constructor, but we're going to make one that goes over the top of this, which is specifically bosses. Just to make things easier. Now, how do I want to actually do this? This is a difficult one. Because, like, this is a system that's been reworked multiple times because of how just crap it is, I'll be honest. And this is probably going to be the last time this is reworked because I just don't see anything else that I would do with it after this. So let's kind of create a bit of a short list. Let's create a short list kind of talking about what do we actually want to do. So we need to allow for bosses. Better scaling. So probably making it like more clear. Having better base objects. It's going to be a big one as well. Because again, like we want to probably make more stuff on the base object of an enemy. I mean, there is a really terrible... No, that would be a horrendous idea. That would require way too much overhaul at this point. No, that's a terrible idea. Okay. We're going to definitely need more enemies. More bosses. And wave functionality. Movement types. And additional scripting. What VTuber did I add in? At the moment, technically there's one that's like pseudo getting added in, but they're not going to be available for a good hot minute. But there is one that has a idol and a sprite. An idol and a splash art in the game. They don't have anything else though, so no weapon, no abilities, no nothing. But I could show them very briefly. Where is character sprites? Matara. So we have Matara is going to be one of the next immediate characters that's going to get added in. This is her idol animation. And I warn you, the splash is one that I'm actually quite proud of, and was very hard to draw one-handed. I mean, what? But yeah. I had to draw her as beautifully as possible. So I put in a good bit of extra elbow grease into that one. So, very nice art. Thank you. Thank you. Again, it's one of the ones I'm actually pretty much the most happy with. So I'm gonna have to make a secondary path if I want to use the system I want. Right? Yeah. I'm gonna make them now. Can I grid copy? We want MP grid create. Doesn't look like there's a MP grid copy. There's a DS grid, but that's different. Fine then, we just copy that then. If you're wondering what the reasoning here is, this is, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have a secondary grid for flying characters. So what that just means is that it's going to be a grid that can be called from that just doesn't collide with the terrain, and that is it. Because I want some enemies to collide with the terrain and some to not. But we need to go here, and we do need to figure out the stuff that we've got here that we definitely want on the boss parent. This is definitely one. We definitely want the draw UI stuff as well. So we want draw GUI, and we have all of this here. And then we can grab this. And replace it with inherit. There should be no issues now with that. Because these are all baseline as well. The problem is, right, is that the create event is super problematic at this point. Because it's not designed correctly. And that's what we need to work on. So what we probably need to do is we probably need to create a script. Which is going to be enemy boss list. And it's going to be very similar to this. So what I'm going to say though to this, and this is something that is kind of on the list of things I need to check out. We potentially are going to have two lists of bosses. Because I have my list of bosses that I've got here, and I'm gonna be honest, some of them just ended up being a little too overloaded. That I was just like, these just these ones are like twice as intense as the like another one. Even if I nerfed the shit out of them, they'd still just be stronger inherently because of the way that they're structured. And I don't want to really just nerf bosses for the sake of it, but I also don't want you to just go into a run and get like only these bosses unless you know you're getting into them. Because I thought it's just doesn't feel good. Is the short answer. So I kind of want to play around with getting something from it, right? Whether it be like you get 2 hard bosses at the end of a run and then 2 easier bosses at the beginning of the run, if it's 5 bosses, for example. Or what? But like, it's that kind of... there's just some of them that are just... It would be a disservice to their reference if I didn't have them strong, is the other thing, right? So we could go through and look at them at some point. I have posted them in a server to get some kind of opinions. But I'm gonna probably just start posting them in here shortly. However, I do want to start making a constructor. So, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna look at enemy struct for a moment. Yeah, so enemy struct is just probably not gonna work. I might as well just yoink this and build an entirely new one up here with the bosses. I'm gonna make it a separate thing. Enemy... Just do that. Right, then I'm just going to yoink these. There we go. Okay, yep. Alright. So, we're gonna have to make a sprite, or it's gonna have to be a sprite array. And this is gonna be where we probably have to make it all individual. Don't need an object. I mean, I guess there should be probably an objects array. Array. Name. Yeah, name goes through. Am I who? I don't recognize that name. Oh, it's that one. Okay, no, I am not that streamer. No. I look like him. I don't know if I quite agree with that. I've got longer hair than he does, and I'm not got the same hair color, which is immediately probably a bit of a tell, as well as the fact that I do programming, and I don't believe he does. Why is he a meme anyway? To my understanding, it's because people enjoy being mean to him because he reacts a lot to it, and it's kind of what I've seen from his community. Don't know much more than that because that's like pretty much as far as I've seen on random clips from time to time from other people that have shared it to me. That's why I didn't recognize the name attached to the person. Because I think he got like viral because of one in particular, which was like was it the Lego brick one? I think is what I'm thinking of. He's not actually fair. People are insane. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I know at all to the situation. Like, if I look at these imagery, I mean, he's a very big person. I definitely would argue people have probably blown it out of proportion based on some of this imagery and memes that are being done, but he definitely looks like quite a bigger person. I mean, nothing wrong with that though, as long as you're healthy. So I'm gonna get rid of these. The multipliers, I'm gonna make more baseline. These values aren't gonna matter. So spawn amount and spawn cluster don't matter. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this description here as well. So what do we need for bosses? What are the consistent rule of thumbs that I have? We've got main attack equal, so we've got to have a main attack, and then we actually have it on here, don't we? Yeah, so we all have also a list of abilities. Okay. And we'll probably want scale size. Just leave it as 1.7 for the moment, but we're probably gonna have to make that adjustable. Because some bosses we might need to make smaller or bigger relative to the thing. I know I'm going to use that on one casing, so I'm going to have to do something about that. And then spawn functions. So we're definitely going to need that. I think the abilities are going to probably just be very hard-coded, because I just don't see a reason not to. Because realistically speaking, most of the abilities aren't going to be kind of shared between the characters, and those that would be, I would just copy and paste them anyway. It's probably just a better bet. Yeah. And that's simply what it is. So we have to have a look at that stuff at some point. Okay. So where is my design? Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of start constructing the party animal in this. Okay. Because I think this is going to be like a weird hybridization of certain things going in certain places, right? So I'm going to have to construct the object, the parents, pretty robustly, but I think I'm going to still have to make like an individual object of the boss. Makes the most sense. Because there's probably just going to be certain casing that I can't accommodate for. No, I think I can probably make most of the bosses just work off of a boss parent and then have the rest of it like that. And then just fix when necessary. I think this should be a dry code moment, where I try and make it as capable of adjusting as possible. So basically, a lot of this is going to get moved to 2 locations, to the point where all of this should be empty. And then we don't need this anymore. That's, I guess, the hope. Yeah, okay, so if that's the case, then I probably... So I don't need the base object. So sprites array, we'll give it a good old actual array, and it's going... The difficulty comes in with how sprites will get handled. Like, the first one will be the default. So this should probably be SP party animal idle. SP party animal walk, and then SP party animal attack. Like, that's definitely how that should be. Then here it will be O bullet and O damage area. Health 400. So I think this should get just turned into an array. Stats array. And then function. Boss stats array. There we go. Is this game with boss fights? Yes it is. It's a Vampire Survivors-like game. So at the moment there's only one boss in the current released update. Which is what we're working on at the moment, is we're trying to make a more a better system for making bosses in the future, and so we can start making more bosses, because we have like, how many more do I have on my list here? Outside of the initial one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more bosses to at least add currently, but we're gonna add a lot more by the end of it. Will you do it in parts or one big stream? This channel has been, since about June last year, streaming this game's creation, but I've been working on this game since February last year. So simply put, I'm not getting everything done today, because I don't have all the assets done yet, at the very least. We're going to be using a lot of temporary assets while we're managing this. In fact, I think there's like, if I actually look at the channel, there's an insane amount of streams at this point. For this, where is it? I'm actually curious how long the playlist is again. I looked the other day too. Content, playlists. I'm looking for, not those. Programming game dev, I have over 100 streams for. But I believe some of those are the other game dev stuff that we've done. Let's see, because I'm pretty sure we have... Yeah, there we go. It's in April this year. I did like 4 streams or something, making a quicker game to prove that I can actually make a game in a lot shorter amount of time when I want to. It's just that this project is super large scale. For better or worse. Alright. So, health, armor, damage, speed, experience. We've got all of those. Cool. So now this becomes stat array 0, stat array 1, stat array 2, stat array 3, stat array 4. Yep. There we go. And then from here we'll also have main attack, and then abilities array. So stats should also probably have scale put in there. Like scale 1, scale 2, just in case. We'll put these at the back end. It's going to be a pain in the ass to put them in the front. Stats array. Just make this 5 and then have that turn into a subarray. Be better. Spawn funk. There we go. And then I think that's pretty much all of the main stuff for now. I mean, there's an argument to be made for passives. Because some of the bosses will have passives. But we can probably have those in the abilities array. And then just remember that part of the spawn function is going to be setting a lot of that data. And I will say now, at this stage in time, I don't think any of the characters that are non-hard bosses will have passives. All of the hard ones have passives at this point. I think technically there's one that's not intended to be a hard boss that has a passive, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, but I'm not going to be changing them from an easy boss because I just want them to be in... The rule of thumb I have is that if their kit is easy to deal with, I would not consider them a hard boss. The problem is most of the bosses that have passives are hard to deal with. The one that I'm saying kind of that has a passive but will do fine is because their passive is a gag. To play on the gag that the character is. So it actually means that they spawn not as themselves, but as something else. So it means that it's basically they spawn not as a boss, then transform into a boss. Whereas the other ones, they have a passive that makes them more potent as a boss. One of the immediate examples I can give is there is a boss that just has continuous healing, but heals higher at lower HP thresholds. Which, yes, I know, those bosses are really irritating, but it teaches you to kind of... Again, some of these bosses are going to be really good versus very specific builds. That boss is really good against lots of low instance damage, because they're going to be constantly healing back, so unless you're doing massive amounts of damage and pushing them constantly down, they will heal back up. It's, I hate to use this example, but it's like trying to poke a set in lane. It's like, yeah, you can do it, but unless you have a 40% health burst as part of your character, the poke isn't going to stick. They're just going to heal up because that's their passive. So it's a boss that you kind of need to kill as soon as you can. That's why I also have them more dangerous at lower HP pools, because it means that, like, you get punished for just not... If you get them below a specific point, you're just going to get punished for it. You need to rush them down. Whereas, like, I have another one that's just heals for the damage that they deal, or a percentage of the damage they deal. Which is, again, healing on a boss. Never fun. It's not going to be easy. Another one has a 50% damage reduction. Because, why the fuck not? And it's just so they can be a lot more in your face. And then the other one is like, is going to be a weaker boss, but it's going to have like a second phase res. So you get it to 0 HP and then it'll resurrect itself. And become stronger. Which is, again, why I say it's on the hard side, because how I almost consider it is that the hard mode bosses are bosses that you have to pay attention to. You have to deal with them. You will regret not dealing with them. The not so hard mode bosses, they're a lot softer to deal. Like, you could ignore them. The fact is that, like, one of the worst ones that I would consider is still an easy boss just avoids you, but deals, like, massive damage if you're not paying attention. It just fires occasionally, it sends off a big explosion, or a laser beam, and you dodge those. Wow. Get kind of close, deal a little bit of damage, then move on. It's gonna be more or less easy enough to ignore it, but again, it's a boss. You still need to kill it to win the run, right? So, based on this stuff, what do I need to move over to the list? And then we need to also have the after the constructor, we need to have the function. Well, no, we already have a boss spawn function, don't we? It's just hard set at the moment. Yeah, here we go. This. So this is the boss spawning. So let's get rid of all of this crap, because none of that matters. So how do I want to handle this? We're going to probably need to make a boss initializer function. Is the short answer, right? Or do we pass through and then do the stuff there? We can probably do the stuff there. Okay, so we're going to need to pass in, which boss we're spawning. Just gonna put boss 0 for the moment. And then, okay. Rip all of this out. Put this here. And I think this is just name. Here it is, the first one. Image alpha can be left. Boss dot what did we have it called again? Scale size? Scale sizer. Oh god. Did I misspell it, did I? I did. Okay, boss scale size. This is going to be 0. And then we do the same for this one. As 1. And then we get this value. Boss dot health. Is it base health? I think is what it's called. Hello. Base health, base armor, base damage, base speed. Base armor. Base damage. Was it spelled as damage or DMG? Can never remember full word. Cool. And then I had this as 1.6, which obviously boss dot Again, this was base. Walk speed. And then... I do want to have them have a EXP value. Oh, it's base speed and base experience. Yeah, base experience. Cool. Okay, this can also be put to false. Then we also have abilities equals boss dot abilities. Is it abilities or abilities array? I think it's all... Fuck. Just abilities. And then main attack is going to equal main attack. Just grab it. So with this, then, I'm probably going to approach passives as being separate to abilities then. Because I want them to have their checking system when necessary. So with the constructor, we're going to now need passives. However, we're going to also have this as an empty potential because this is one of the ones that we know not every enemy has. And that's fine. Not every enemy is going to have a passive. Okay. Then, once all of that is done, we want to function... No, it's script execute boss dot spawn func. Spawning funk, I think? Is that how I've spelled it? Spawn functions. There we go. So what we're going to have with the spawn functions is it's going to basically probably be most of the time just setting up variables that might be needed for abilities or passives. That will be unique to the casing of that. So what I mean by this is, what if a passive is going to have a cooldown? Then I would need a way of putting that through. That will be an easy enough way to do it. Or like a unique true or false checker. Because some of them are going to require more than one. So that's just pure and simply what the spawn functions is going to be. Is it's just going to add in a couple more variables when necessary or do something weird initially as well. So let's take this. Yeah, so all of this is going to get ripped out. Put there. So that's one that's going to probably be an example of something that gets thinged. The rest of this is all just normal stuff. So let's take these abilities here. And put them into the enemy boss list. So boss stats array, do that. Main attack, skip that. Abilities. And you don't have a passive, so it's fine. Okay, and then we're going to need to go here. Because that's the thing, is a lot of these are going to need to be redone up to accommodate. Now, what we're going to do here is add this in. So there's one variable we already know that needs to be put in from the create event, which is this one. Now, if we feel that we need to add these in more frequently, then we can move this out of this function and then move it into the actual object at a later stage. So the other thing I'm going to have, now that I think on it, spawn function, main attack, and then, let's have main attack and array. Have this as 1, and then, main attack targeting equals attack 0. So what this is going to be is, if we go back to the party animal here, you see how there's this AND check? So we're going to rip this out. Main attack targeting. And we're going to go to the list. So this is no longer correct. What we need here is this all get pushed along one. There. So this will be the requirement for when to attack, if the attack is available. So this is going to get changed here to, that's now going to go into the functions themselves here. And then it's sprite array 0. Sprite array 0. I'm pretty sure that works. Yeah. Okay. So we don't need any of... this... that. So this one is weird, because that was conditional for the thing. Where could I sneak that into the list for its attack? I mean, I just have it here, right? Okay. Do that, because that should give me the safety net that I need. But then I do need to go here and make sure that the inherit event is at the top now. Enemy parent. Okay. Yeah, that is an issue I have. Is they're not gonna pass start unless I tell them to. So I'm gonna have to. I mean, oh no, they do pass start. Yeah, it is part of the code. Yeah, no, I can remove it then. Cool. Okay, no, it's sprite array 0. So always make it default back to that. And then the walk can be the second one. As a rule of thumb. Cool. That technically means that the boss party animal is no longer using the object at all, and it should have all of its functionality ready. So let us get it'll be under here. Control F, find all, because we need to know where it's being used. It's this. Enemy boss. Should be correct. So let's toggle on the ability to spawn a boss, shall we? It's two things I'm going to do. So we're going to toggle the ability to do the bosses. That's right, it's in the controller, not in the player. Sometimes I forget where each of the debug things are. Sometimes it's it do be like that. There we go. So now instead of this, I'm going to run boss spawning, boss enemy boss list, and then do this. Then I'm going to go to the enemy boss parent and give it a sprite. So it has a default. Okay, let's launch the game and see if we get any issues. Oops. Ignore that. Walk speed not set. Cool. So this is where I point out like why this even needs to be considered as a thing. I'm going to do something that's really fucking foul. There. Give it some more absolute default values. Now I am concerned what this is going to mean for pathing. We will see. Boss name. Okay, so that doesn't seem to want to work when I spawn it that way. That's fine. Let's try this. If this doesn't work, then I've written the return incorrectly. Just double check it's not that. Okay, I'm gonna make a break then. Here. I'm gonna run this so I can actually see if this is returning an array or not. It's returning undefined. What do you mean? Why are you returning undefined? What is the difference between it and this? Ah. The ability to read. Boom. Probably a solid guess that they just fixed it. I will admit I forget to put new in front of constructors from time to time. I shouldn't. It should be something I really, really ought to ingrain in my, my body. Cool. So what was his variables again? There is a cheat. You wanna know what the cheat is to finding out what his values were again? Armor was 50. Damage was 20. Walk speed was 1.6. Whoops. Experience is 0 for now. And then 1.7. 1.7. Just a little reminder, soft reminder to people. Highly recommend using a Git repo and stuff because, yeah, this is a great example of what you can actually get out of using this. This is the old object before it's gotten changed. I'm able to look through all of the changes that I've made, and since we're on a current new branch as well at the moment, this is the one for all of the stuff that we're working on, so it doesn't actually affect if I need to go and bug fix something and release a new patch. You're not just going to get Matara and these new bosses and all of that sort of stuff slammed into your thing, especially knowing that they're just going to inflate the size more than necessary. Yeah, it just means that if I want to do something, I can do it a lot easier. Oh. Does mean I'm gonna have to get back to probably dealing with conflict errors though, because we're gonna be removing objects and re-adding objects and all sorts of things that potentially conflict with what the baseline has, which is again why I keep mentioning how like we talk of how memory needs, like the data locations and stuff like that need to start getting locked in. This is an example of why, is like it's going to progressively get more and more difficult to effectively branch and bug test and fix as we're getting patches going. With more and more objects being like separated, which is why it's kind of, I much prefer scripts being what get changed and added and removed than the alternative. So now we launch, we should get a boss fight. And it should have all of its normalized functionality. It's not set before reading. Don't we push through a... Oh, we don't push through the sprites array. Nor the objects. At the moment. Gotta fix that. There we go. That should fix that now. Main attack targeting not set before reading it. I think I might need to turn it into a function. Oh no, I don't set it, like actually straight up. Yeah, no, I keep... Main attack targeting equals, boss dot main attack targeting. The way it's written should be fine, because it should... I don't know. I don't know if it's going to hold the value of if it's true or not, or if it's going to hold the... It does not. Okay. So it's currently holding the value whether or not... what it said at the beginning, so we need to make it a function, a return function. That's easy enough. So we need to go here, and instead of having it written like this, there. Now, this was the other issue. Path end not set before reading. So it actually just couldn't call path end. So what we need to do is on... That's getting called at location. That's fine. This is the one that's not fine. Why don't I just do this? It's probably several times better to just do this. Yeah, okay, so this is one of those things where, like, I'm going to explain it and you're going to go, why did you do this in the first place? So, what I'm cleaning up here now is because all of these were going ID, reference thing and all that, there was a lot of issues. First of all, path end wouldn't work. Second of all, this means every time that ID is called, it's basically having to bounce to a location, get a value, bounce back. Whereas doing it as with like this means that it bounces to the location and then just dumps the shit on top of it. So it's actually a lot better memory-wise for the most part. Again, don't ask me why I thought that that was a good thing. It's bad to do it that way, but I had it. This is far better. Now we shouldn't have the issue with the casting. Okay, that's not working as intended, but it's really pretty looking. So it seems like it was working, but it was just executing the entire script constantly. So why? So this is the first time we use the 2. Is it because of this? Let's try removing that. See if that improved it. No. It seems like it's just getting the thing regardless. Like, this is coming back true. What if I put this as false? It's gonna look really weird, but I'm just testing something. Oh. I realized what I fucked up the moment I said that. I'm gonna just add that back in there. Writing it that way runs it as a function. We weren't running it as a function, we would check it. So again, this is where a really fun little bit of our code works. Did you know that false is 0 and true is fucking anything else above that? So what happens when you tell it, here's a function, which the function's gonna return a value of like, off the top of my head, I've seen it be like, 24AA2 something, blah, blah, blah. It's a code thing that'll come back, but it's gonna be technically a positive value. Therefore, it's true. So now it's actually not getting it correctly. That's not casting correctly. Pathing is not working in the slightest. It's trying. And it's failing. So what is wrong with its pathing? What has changed about its pathing logic that would affect it? Is it state related or is it path related? This is 90% of coding. It really is. This is what happens when you try and make things better, is you make them worse first. It's 100% what you do. Right. To-do fix. Ugh, dude, that to-do never gets wiped off the board, let's be honest. I need to see if this is a state-related issue or if this is a path-related issue. So it's 0, so... it's not switching at all to try and attack. It's a casting. And then it's walk. It's definitely a pathing related issue. That has 100% nothing to do with states. It's got to be pathing. Okay. The moment you say to do, it'll never get fixed. See, you know what I say to that, and I hate that that's true, right? But what I say to that is there's a reason why I kind of hate that we have a things to add doc on here. But in short, that's not for me. I almost never will look at the things to do. If there's something that needs to be done, I need to be told. I am the predominant person developing this, so there's not really often something's going to get told to me, hey, you need to fix this. I'll go fix the main things myself. But the person that works on the UI for this game is someone else. Is a good friend of mine, helps out from time to time. And that's what this list is for. Because I'm gonna be honest, it's also his UI stuff is written in a way that I can't do jack shit with it at this point. It's not exactly the most it has a lot of problems with how it can function. That makes it really, really difficult to track when events occur where and how to slot new events in. Because he has a lot of the draw events, right? Draw events in Game Maker are pretty simplistic normally, as they are done on the draw event. And if you try and do a render-based thing on like a step event or the frame event, it normally just won't do anything because it's not a render-based event. The problem is, the way he's got it is that it's like some of it's on the step event, some of it's in functions, and then all of the rest of it's like all over the place, and almost none of it is actually in the draw events, which makes it really hard to track when an event's occurring. So I use Godot, but when you said that, I understood the pain anyway. I mean, like, that's the thing, is I can say with utmost certainty if you've used Godot or just a C-based language in general, you'll probably understand a lot of what I'm kind of talking about. Because a lot of it kind of works together, right? It's basically draw event is the renderer's frame event, whereas a step event is just the frame event of the object. Actually, I can never remember, is Godot object-orientated programming or not? I'm pretty sure it's partly, right? I'm pretty sure it's an OOP foundation. Depending on the language, I guess, that you use when coding in it, because it does actually allow for multiple language archetypes. kind of like Python. Yeah. Okay. God, it's been a long time since I've worked with Python as well, now that I think about it. Alright, let's pull this up and actually have a look at the step event. See what's changed, potentially. Also has C# support. I know it's got a lot of language support. I know it's got C#, and I'm pretty sure it has A something, I think. I have to go now. Have a nice stream. All good. Thank you very much for stopping by. I mean, Godot's a really, really good one to get into if you've got a... I would argue it's probably a better one than Game Maker if you have a little bit of coding understanding going into it. But the tutorialization is just getting more and more robust for Godot, so it's kind of made up for. Whereas the reason why I like Game Maker personally is, one, the games that I'm making, it works for really well, and two, it's very, very kind to solo development processing. Something that stuff like Unity and Unreal will never truly be able to accomplish ever again. They're not solo development friendly in comparison. However, they do allow you better memory management, I will say that. Because that's one of the biggest issues of Game Maker. Is that because it's using C# under the hood, and it's using a lot of amalgamated data formats, it actually just is really bad for data. But it does have it has a lot of safety cleanup. Unless you're using certain things, it basically will automatically clean everything up for every frame that's necessary. Unless you're using something like a DS list or I mean, there's also render things, right? Like if you try and make a surface, because a surface is basically you make it. If you don't tell it to clear surface, then it will not clear the surface, and you get the solitaire victory condition. Which I love explaining that to people. It's always fun. I've had that a few times on while getting some of the rendering working on this. So depth relative to player isn't handled. And this is the only other thing I can think of. But that's fine. So why is pathing not getting purged correctly? How about we do state equals the state enemy dot walking for now. The idea of making a game with next to no programming knowledge just feels foreign and wrong to you. Yeah, I mean, it's not... I understand that, but like that's why I say nowadays, like in the last 2 years especially, I would argue, you can easily go into making a game without any game, like, programming knowledge. I mean, keep in mind, Undertale and many other games are like actual nightmares if you look at what's under the hood. Balatro, if you've looked at that game in recent, that's all switch statements. That's all conditional switch statements and shit. It is actually foul what they have under the hood of that thing, but it fucking works. You don't need to be a good programmer. As long as you understand the foundations, you're fine. It's just when you start getting to a very specific level, it becomes a very different argument. But yeah, no, Undertale is all if and switch statements. Like a shitload of them. It's already looking like it's pathing a little bit better. No, it's breaking. Why is it breaking like this? Oh god, no, wait, is... my controller, what is that actually getting, moving for? Okay, it's unit parent. And Boss Dulahan, Golden Dragon. Nice heart, by the way, thank you. No, this is unit parent, so it shouldn't be affected by that. Okay, sort that out later. So what is wrong with its internal handling for pathing? But the worst part is, it's like, what has actually changed between this boss object and that? It's just that a lot of the rules have been moved to slightly disfigured locations. But nothing else has changed? Like, clearly this isn't working. That's how that is. I understand that. But why is... if I go and change this, it'll be fine. Let's go to the list and pull out of abilities. We grab this. Because for now it's the same. So before we had it like this. Does this fix it? We need it to not break while trying to cast. Specifically. Alright, where did he spawn? There you are. Okay, following correctly so far. Still breaks. It breaks after the cast. It's like it's looping something. What if I do this? Because it's the fact that the things are still triggering is weird. And it seems to break specifically after the first cast. See? It's just fucking jibbing out and it doesn't actually give a shit about pause menu anymore too. Because the position of the data hasn't really changed, technically. I guess the width has changed. Let's try, since we've removed the thing, this is really not good to do this way. But I'm going to remove this width. See what happens. But it does mean I need to now go through and make sure I re-reference everything. Again, bit bad programming practice, this. But, you know, you do what you do. If this all of a sudden works, I'm going to be beyond confused. Then again, I'm also going to be very confused if it doesn't work, so not really got a good answer here. Oh. I missed one of the values. Where? Ah. Alright, where do you just spawn, party animal? There you are. Come on. Cast your damn shite. Still moving very strangely. So what's wrong with its pathing logic? there anything else that was changed on this? Let's pull up create event. And then pull up this create event. Just double check it against this. Okay, so event inherited. Then we have the stats that are temporary holds. Then we have all of this, which none of this got changed. Right? Yeah. Is it because this? What if I remove this? You have no idea. It's all good. Like, that's just gonna be how it is, right? I'm wondering if I'm adding multiple paths somehow. And because of that, they're conflicting. It doesn't help that, like, the way Game Maker does pathing, I'm still not 100% confident with. So I'm still kind of learning the ropes with it. See, it feels like there's something fighting. Right? The way he's moving. Like, there's a conflicting thing going on with his pathing. I don't understand what is conflicting with it. Because unit parent is what's getting affected by the controller. And that's what's actually moving things. Because again, it's very specifically enemy unit parent is what's actually occurring here. And nothing here? Well, I mean, I don't think this alarm's even functioning anymore correctly. Why is it getting a conflicting path system? I have a very shitty check, but if... how have I written in the list? If I run this and we get this return back true somehow. Gonna head out. All good. Thank you for stopping by. It's gonna just be a real short test because it'll come very quickly if it is. Because like it's getting nudged here. And now it's like stuttering. Even its sprite thing isn't working correctly. Wait. The sprite thing's not even working correctly. I noticed that earlier, but it didn't click. That's actually a really interesting sign. I'm going to disable this for a moment. See if this has anything to do with this at all. No, so it's got nothing to do with that. There was one thing that it could be related to. Okay, let's grab a copy of code at the very top here. Go back here. Rip this out and put this at the bottom. Does this change it? Almost did. Okay, that's really strange. What? How about... Let's see. Sprites array. Hold. Okay. Attack, casting, path, end. Just gonna add those here as well. Just because I have a feeling I'm gonna have to start doing this a lot. I'm having a bad feeling. Let's go here. And for one reason or another, let's copy this. And replace event inherited with this. I want to know if it's because of something to do with the way we have pausing working. And it's repeating the process somehow. For creating a, thing. A path. It's mainly the AoE that's going to show it the best. Actually, the pause will work well. Interesting. But it's broken there now. It's like it's not resetting the path correctly there. Wait, it's not resetting the path, right? It's what it seems to be. But we are setting state to walking again, though, aren't we not? Because it should go here, start walking. Then we'll see, I think it's 4 come up at some point. Yeah, there was 4, so that was its cast. So something maybe to do with here? But nothing's changed here, to my understanding. This is gonna be a fucking head scratcher, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, I could just revert all of this to back on the other object, but what do we benefit from doing that other than just, like, seeing if it used to work? It's like, well, we knew it used to work. Why isn't it working now? Hell, I don't even need to do that. I could just stow these changes and go back to the main branch and show. What is different? What is different here? This being above the path? Doesn't seem like it would change enough, right? Hang on. Holy shit, I think I see it. If this fixes this, then I've got a really long-standing problem that we can go fix now. That's just about the inheritance then. No, doesn't seem to have fixed it. It not having sprite speed's fine. I know why that's happening. That's not a problem. It's the fact that it's not getting to me at all. Okay, so that's not it, but I'm sure that probably didn't help it. Oh, fuck me. No, I'm even stupider. Okay, cool. I think that's probably the problem. I have a feeling that's probably the problem. Still seems a little shaky. No, that's not it. Okay. What is it then? I keep tweaking little things and it's just actually not doing anything. Even though this is basically at this point exactly how the code went. Like, this is what we've got here. The difference was it was on a different object. I guess there was the initializer. But this doesn't have that anymore because it was not working. Okay. Dangerous kind of thing to do here. Where is it? Cool, and then that means I can actually remove a bunch of variables here. Okay, gotta keep ignoring where a lot of this goes. So if that's the case there, and this has, the create event here hasn't changed. I'm actually just gonna delete this to force it to tell me what's changed. And the create event. In case some of this is also maybe affecting it, because we do, again, so this should be having on its create event an inherent. So, enemy, parent, create. We're rewriting path? Is that what's happening? Flash is there, slow is there, target doesn't get used, state hold equals state, enemy debuff duration and effects, or enemy parent. Yeah, so all of that's the same. So if I go then maybe here. All of that's technically done. Let's try this again. Seems fine. No, it's not. So it's the path resetting. That is what's clearly going wrong. It's not per se the abilities. The abilities just are one of the clearest ways of seeing it. So somehow I've written this poorly. But this is exactly how I've written it in all other locations. So yeah, I can fix that one issue like that. It's got to be in the step event. What have I done differently? Pause, path duplication. Apparently I clicked on C++ at some point. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. If blah 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 else blah blah blah. Oh! Wait a minute. Is that what I'm reading? No. I mean, it shouldn't really change anything by having it that way. Right, if stunned, else that. Movement. If walking, none of that mattered. Sprite index, blah blah blah. Like, again, this is, I'm pretty sure, just copy and pasted. Is it not? Target path edge. And then it moves on to the rest of it. What is different about these? Nothing. That's the thing. Right. I'm gonna run this in debug mode with a breakpoint and see if I can see something that looks wrong in one of the arrays. So we want boss. Base damage, base speed, base experience, main targeting, attack abilities, function, 2-string. This is empty, sprites array is the references to the sprites. That should be 1.7, 1.7. Wasn't there a way to toggle the visibility of that? Is there a way to toggle the visibility of... Okay, it would be here. Can I just do this in the non... Is this the absolute? Yes. Will this show me what I'm looking for? Damn, it's gonna be annoying. I have a feeling I need to do that in the draw function. This is, again, so right here is exactly what I'm talking about with, this is one of the issues with Game Maker I have. Is that a debug draw event like this doesn't actually draw like it's supposed to. I'm gonna do this. This isn't gonna guarantee working correctly. But it's just, it's those sorts of instances where it's really, really frustrating. Oh, no, I figured it out. But that wasn't an issue before, was it? Why wouldn't that not have been an issue before, but is an issue now? No, that's not the resolution. I'm just gonna do this for a moment to test something. Oh. Swear to God if that's what I thought it was. Oh, I'm actually really mad. Oh, I'm actually really fucking mad at that. Okay, to explain what just happened. For some reason, on here, this works. I know why now. Okay. So to explain what was happening, and it's really upsetting to explain this because it's really stupid. When a enemy is checking this is how I basically keep the enemies from not clumping up on top of each other too intensely. This gives a little bit of a collision to each other, so they soft push each other away. Thing is, this is looking for the fucking get object's parent. Is it an enemy boss parent? No, because the O enemy boss parent doesn't have a parent called O enemy boss. It is the fucking O enemy boss parent. So this is not going to work. Now, mind you, this is never supposed to work in the beginning. That's the point. It's supposed to ignore this. I'm just gonna fucking break it and delete it. Like, I swear to God. No, so I do need to override and leave it override and empty. Cool. Okay, that was more than upsetting. So, we've gone through several layers of debugging for something that was completely unrelated. Good times. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to rip this. Going to inherit event. And then I'm going back to the enemy parent step event, and I'm going to toss this on the top of this. It's a nicer looking version of it. There we go. That would explain why it was jibbing so much, because it has a huge ass hitbox. Keep in mind the boss has an extremely large hitbox, right? So yeah, that would explain why it was jibbing out like that. Well done, we've figured it out. I hate everything about that. That was an awful experience. I'm gonna remove this, because we probably don't need this here anymore. And yeah. There we go. Oh my god. Well, that was only a few hours wasted, I guess. Oh my god. This is the problem with like having complex things like this going on, is there's too many little things to try and remember and check on. Because it's so outdated as well. Like, these systems have been around for a long, long time and have been left untouched for that time. So now we need to figure out why the main attack's not working. Let's work on that now. Well, I've got a little bit more sanity going. My lord. Let's have a look at something quickly. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna need to figure out why the targeting's not working, so I'm just gonna go back here. No, not there. Here. And look at this. Return, collision check, blah 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 blah. Okay. I might have a look at that better later. PayPal have updated their logo. Oh, cool. They gotten rid of their logo is what it looks like. Jeez, that looks actually horrendous. Alright. Dude, I've seen so many cool, like, indie games on Twitter now. I'm glad I've managed to, like, hard nudge, my, algorithm to show me a lot of that sort of stuff, because it looks fucking awesome. But it also does, like, make me sit there and go, wow, I am woefully inadequate in comparison to these teams. One day I'll fix it. Yeah. Okay, so that is the first boss. What was I gonna work on again? Sorry, I got a little distracted. Getting this working. So why is this just not returning what I wanted to? I mean, I could just change, like, I'm gonna be honest, I could just change this to a fucking checks only for this value. So if I rip this out, and then we go back to the boss, and we place this here, it's gonna work now, right? Because realistically speaking, if I'm looking at all of the attacks that I think I've got at the moment, the only discrepancy is one of them, and then the rest are just, it would be range dependent. Yeah, that looks fine. Cool. Just leave it at this for the moment. Grab this after we do something. Go back here. We change this into the value for target distance. And then we take this, go here, and then we get targeting. We can change this at a later stage. And this should mean nothing's wrong. Hang on a minute, bud. Hang on a minute there, buddy. You shouldn't be moving. You should actually just not be moving at all. Oh, enemy parent. Step. Path end. When game paused. What the fuck was that? I'm gonna F1 this so I make sure I'm getting the data for it correct. The parent objects, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Cool. Yeah, so that should have paused it. Hmm. Okay. I'm just gonna make a soft little safety net. Should I? I shouldn't have to though. That's why I'm confused, because it's like, okay, the confusion comes in when I see event inherited. What happens in my brain is that it grabs this event from the parent, runs that code, and then goes back and runs its own code. So it's basically this all is written where that event inherited is. So why the fuck is it not exiting? And it should also be ending paths. Like this should be all I need, right? Because it should just go like, hey, just end the path. The scope of an instance. Oh, okay, so that is actually a very specific thing for this. I mean, does it sound stupid to say this? But like, isn't there an argument to be made that I should just path end at the very beginning of every step anyway? Regardless, because I'm going to have to do that anyway. It's not respecting the pause at all. I hate this so much because I feel like I'm just gonna have to do this and it's gonna work. bet you it's because it's going to only exit within scope, and like technically that's out of scope. I fucking hate this shit sometimes. So, okay. I have a fix that's simpler. But I'm very upset by this. The rest should be done fine. I'm going to double check though. Cool. Okay. Alright, so the only other thing I really should be doing is ye old, depth equals minus y, the possibly one of the most common pieces of code in all of Game Maker. Because now it means that he goes in front and behind when necessary. Or they go in front and behind. Somewhat. I mean, it's a boss. It's allowed to be a little over the top. I do need to get some particle effects and like a general ability effects going for this dude at some point. Because, yeah. But I think that's kind of like one of those eventualities that I need to do so much for. Oh, for God's sakes. I forgot this is still set to 10, by the way. This needs to be changed. Alright. There's actually two things I need to fix at some point, but we will leave those as low priority. But no, there we go. Bosses are now malleable, and we can make them much easier overall. That's something. Hey, vendor, welcome back. Oh my god. That was a fucking ordeal, but we've got it going. We've got it going. So now I need to try and think about which is the next boss I'm going to add. and how I'm going to add them. So let's have a little look at my listy list. I was gonna make you next. Could I work on that right now? Not too happy about working on it right now. I'll be back in a moment though. Woo. Alright. I've returned. So, again, keeping in mind that for now, a lot of bosses are not going to have their assets in. Just because it's not worth doing. I'm also not going to bother putting the name in for the moment. And for this, it's just going to be SP... temp... No, what is it? It's SP... boss temp. Crazy idea. Are you ready? Go on then. Won't tell you no. Okay, so this is function. Make yourself a boss. I'm not gonna say that's a bad idea. My statement, though, I'll say this kind of tentatively, there is already something about me in game. And all I will say to that factor is, see this little hash thing up here? This is the secrets folder. This is all the secrets that are in the game in some capacity that I do not want to show. I will never open this folder on stream. There is something about me in there. But I do think that would be kind of funny, though, to have me as a boss. Just me just fucking coming out creature-like, where's the fucking shredded cheese? Where the fuck is the shredded cheese? I do not know what the stats I want for this are. I'm gonna probably make the... You're one of the favorite streamers? I'm glad to hear that. I try my best. Higher health. Lower armor. Lower damage. And really high speed. So I'm gonna give it 2 to begin with. That might get changed. Experience, I'm gonna keep it 0 for the moment, and I'm just gonna use the previous 1.7. The stats. Then we've got our main attack. With an attack range value, which I'm gonna have that as super low for this dude. And then a function, oops. Function. God damn, I did not need to be reminded of High School Musical today. Why did I do that to myself? Actually, I'm gonna show in a moment some of these bosses, because I think there's going to be a few people that are gonna really love some of the references. Because they're just kind of funny. You could do something that would give me a crazy flex when you're not busy. I mean, I'm not too busy at the moment. Alright. Here we go. Here's the list of bosses. And it also has their descriptions, design decisions, and references that they're a part of. So we've got Party Animal. We already know Party Animal. We've got Fluffy, which is the a soft Monty Python reference, and by soft I mean not at all. It's very clear. Which I think is absolutely necessary. This was one of the first bosses when we decided to take the enemies in a more comical direction. Fluffy was one of the first designs we came up with for another boss. Party Animal was the first, but Fluffy was up there because Fluffy was already an idea prior to taking the piss out of the bosses. And then we decided, you know what, since we, well, more my end, but since I was going to make the bosses more comical and more funny instead of like so serious, what they were before, I was like, oh, well, it definitely means that this is getting pushed through. So there is a passive for it. I haven't written it down yet, but it is just like, after taking a little bit of its health and damage, it will transform and go like super ragey and actually become a boss. Which is why I was saying earlier, like, there's some enemies that are going to have passives that the passive isn't what I would say pushes it over the edge to being what I'm calling the hard bosses. Then we've got Manhattan Dragon. American Dragon. I'm gonna remember that show when I was younger. That was fun times to watch. So yeah, no, got that there. I thought that was just gonna be fun. So it's very, very basic. Charge up, player direction, goes line and attacks. Kind of similar to what we've got now, but adjusts its position while it's channeling in comparison to what the Party Animal does, which it targets a direction, then it dashes eventually, but it sets the location. After a short charge, fire a projectile, and then this one is like kind of a bit of a soft zone control. So it's very low end. It's more supposed to be there to be a funny reference, and again, on the easier side of bosses, because we do have a few of them. Again, Party Animal I would consider an easy boss. Manhattan Dragon's kind of same category, same with Fluffy. They're supposed to just be like pretty linear, you just fight them. You don't really need to worry that your build's gonna struggle a little bit against them. Like specific builds will do better versus these bosses than that. Whereas with this one, for example, Queen of Clothes, is what I would call a hard boss. So this is Ragyo Kiryuin from Kill la Kill, the main kind of boss character in that. Absolutely have always loved her design. It was really awesome. There's just something about that series that was fucking hysterical as well. Unique thing for her, she doesn't have a main attack. Is the game free? Yeah. I can't charge for it. It's the current update's available now, which basically has everything but the stuff I'm working on today. It's in the description. You can download it right now. But yeah, so instead of a normal attack, she's going to have summons that she'll send out, which are going to be the little doll, I can't remember, but she basically is the one that does all the sewing and shit. That little girl. And she has a passive here, which is keep healing higher amounts at, on missing, higher amounts based on missing health. Basically, the lower she is, the more she's going to have passive regen. You kind of want to hit her with nukes. Which is why I'm saying, like, some of these bosses are designed that if you don't have a diverse enough kind of kit design, you will struggle a little bit. But I'm not going to give her numbers that mean that she will beat you if you don't have hard hits that nuke her down from half HP, but it's definitely going to be a bit harder. That's the general idea that I'm trying to go with these. I might give her another ability still. We will see, but I do think that I really like just the threaded spikes alone, because that's just a lot of AoE that she has, which again, the idea is that because it gets cast frequency based on low health, the lower her health, the more punished you are for being near her, which means that you're enticed to get away, which actually ends up poorly because then she heals back up. So you kind of want to just kill her as quickly as possible and get through the pain. That is the idea. In fact, the smartest thing I can say now would be to do is to approach the situation in a fairly simple manner of you get her to cast like threaded spikes and then you nuke her with damage, because then the cooldown's still going, so you're not going to get the cast frequency until much later. That's the idea. Then we've got Magical Girl here. I had to have a Magical Girl thing. Thought it was cool. I also really liked how the Achan boss moves in holocure, and I kind of wanted to make a boss that was like that, but different. And as it says here, I always loved Recreators and the approach that they had with the Magical Girl and that. So that is why I'm gonna do that. Right, like I've got that. So again, this is one of the easy bosses, but it does have a passive, and the passive is that it's flying and will try between attacks, because it will pause to do actions, it will try and avoid the player a little bit. It will try and move to positions away from you. So it means that you can catch up to it fairly easily. There will be moments where it will probably be hard to get to, but it will try and still stay... Basically, it will try and stay on the edge of your screen between its attacks. So if you do have screen-wide damage, you'll be fine. If you've got range damage, you'll be fine. There's plenty of things that are your answers for this. Not an issue. Doggo with a knife. This is the one that I'm currently working on because it's super easy. I'm sure most of us know about the giant doggo with a sword. I think it's Sif is the name, from one of the From Software games. I can't remember. I think it's Dark Souls 2 or something. I always really loved the concept of that boss fight. I think it's an incredible boss fight because it tells a story. And I decided to... I gotta have at least one From Software reference, I feel, with bosses. Followed you on itch. Nice. Thank you. So, yeah, I decided to have Sif as my currently only reference to From Software. And it's passive is going to kind of make you feel bad. It's literally the lower the health, the higher the damage, but the slower it moves. Because again, it's the doggo. Can't move as much. I'ma get off. See you later. Catch you later, vendor. It was good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I'm tempted as well to make an asset to have it that when it gets below a health threshold, it changes its baseline sprites to basically injured versions, so you feel even worse. Since it's not got any healing, it's a lot safer to do that. Even if I add like which I might give a modifier that gives like passive health regen to everything or something. Even then, I'll probably just have it as once it hits this threshold, switch the sprites and leave it at that. Bizarre Journeyer. Now, not so subtle reference to Dio with this. Again, I highly recommend if you get the moment and you're watching this or watching this later, pause, read the bios. They're very funny. I gave a little bit of credit with some of them. They're cute, I think. They will be in game to potentially modified a little bit, but yeah. But yeah, so this is Dio. He is going to be one of the hard bosses. He's probably the outside of Queen of Clothes. He's the next one that I have, and you'll kind of read really quickly as to why when we go through his abilities. Main attack is just kind of his good old order, or muda in his case. Good old attack rush. This is technically a passive. Technically. But it's basically at certain health thresholds. So I'm thinking probably like 70%, 40%, 10% health. What he's actually going to do is he's going to pause the game. Like legitimately, he's going to pause the game for everyone but him. And then he's going to still continue to do all of his stuff that he normally tries to do, but it's all paused, so it'll hit you all at once. Again, I liked the idea of doing a stop time thing. I thought it was cool. And I know how I'm going to do this. It is actually going to pause the game. It's going to flip the pause switch, but it's not going to have some of the rules that are normally the case. Instead, this one's going to check if it's a pause menu or not. Or like if it's not a normal play menu and it's paused. Why would that occur? Well, that's kind of only going to be when he's activated it. I might need to make another condition to check, but that is basically the main thing. I thought that's just really cute to it. But he's also got the passive of he has kind of lifesteal. A very small amount, mind you. It's going to be designed that like theoretically, so with Queen of Clothes, she's going to have, I would estimate, about a 20 to 30% bigger health pool than she actually has through the health regen. That's kind of the idea. With this one, I would argue it's probably only going to be like 20% at most. And like, I'm talking kind of optimal situations for them. There's probably ways around it. Then also got to have a teleport closer to the player occasionally to try and get the basic attack off. I'm gonna do something with this, I'm sure. And then random stuff go, which is actually more of a Moon Knight reference, but hey. Which he'll just throw assortment of stuff. Again, this is gonna synergize quite a lot with his time stop. So again, these are the bosses that we're designing. This isn't the characters, no, these are bosses you're gonna have to fight. Giant Mutant Turtle, good old Bowser. Again, very simple kit, very much on the end of easy bosses. Just gonna swipe in front of him. I also, yes, you can call me out for this, it's very stupid. Black Mouth Flames and Pools of Jacked Flames. Yes, it is Jack and Black in his ability names. You. Sue me, okay? I thought it was funny. Then we've got Shadow Monster. This one I might hit a little bit to make it more interesting. I feel, because it's not quite where I want it to be in terms of thing. But this is another hard boss. This is a passive that's just going to give it 50% damage reduction, because I want it basically in your face. I want it to be right in your face and constantly pressuring you in a way that means that, like, you're gonna sit on top of this enemy, and it's gonna try and sit on top of you, and it's just in a war of attrition. So if you have, however though, I want to mention, if you want to know how the damage reduction is going to work, I can tell you, and it's going to be very interesting. There is a stat that all enemies have, which is damage amplification. There is a few things in the game that influences. Vox has his passive that gives damage amplification in an area, and I think there's like one or two other things. I'm going to use that, which means damage amplification is nullification for it. So it actually stacks really cleanly against it. So if you have 50% damage amplification, you nullify it instead of, so it's actually done in a nice additive fashion instead of multiplicative, which is going to make it way, way worse into it. So this is really, really interesting to me. I think that's actually how I want to do it instead of actually creating a thing that gives it damage reduction. I'm going to also probably give it fairly low-ish armor to compensate as well. Or middle range armor. Just so it's got that. Then on top of that, yeah, so it's like has alternating attacks to try and like catch you off guard a little bit, creates things that it's just like kind of think of a rake effect towards it. That's got there, and then this one, which basically means that like you want to be constantly moving around it. This boss, I would call it hard, but I would actually argue this is probably one of the easiest hard bosses because it's going to just basically sit in one place and you can sit with it and you balance out pretty cleanly from it. This is the final boss. This is Blizzard Witch. This is Cocolia from Honkai Star Rail based reference. However, I want to stress, while it's a reference to that, it's also going to be a reference to Esdeath, because the first mode is going to be looking like Esdeath with rapier and stuff like that, and then the final form is going to be a bit more of the Cocolia ice witchy thing. I thought that was a cool way of mixing those two, because I wanted to do something like that with the bosses. But yeah, so fire, ice call, nearest player, so it's actually a ranged basic attack, which I don't think we've really had. Then we have Everlasting Freeze as one of the things, which is just drop a large icicle on the ground, dealing damage, lingers with a slow effect. This is basically Cocolia's summon, if anyone's familiar. It will just be like a pillar, and it will create an area around it. Kind of designed to just be a slight annoyance. The slow is not going to stack. It is going to be a strict one of them, and same probably with the damage. And when I say like really minor damage, I mean like it's probably going to be single digit, but it's going to be like every tick sort of thing. It's going to constantly be harassing you. So you do want to be like out of these zones if you can, because they're going to work against you for the other stuff. So then a frozen world that they promised, after a delay, summon a massive ice spike out of the ground at the target location. That's a little bit more of that Esdeath reference. Again, big, intense icicle thing. Then its passive is that it goes, basically, it has the second phase. It would die, come back to full health, and you're going to fight it again. Only one with this so far. This is again why its stats are probably going to be slightly lower than normal. Probably, I'd guess, maybe like 90-80% of what something would be statted at a very similar point. However, it's got it twice, so it's a lot higher of an effective health pool. And then, as it says here, a frozen world that they promised gets replaced with power translates into hope, and Everlasting Freeze, which was the icicle that summons, gets cast twice when it would be cast. So it gets a single repeat. Power translates into hope is basically her big epic Cocolia's nuke that she'll send down, and has also a lingering zone. But it's much larger and permanent, basically. That is the bosses that I have so far. I am not going to say that these are the only ones by a long shot. This was basically all I wrote yesterday. All of these bosses were written up yesterday. Most of their ideas were crafted yesterday. This is kind of where we're at. It's gonna be a progressive effort. And I mentioned this, I think, on stream. But, like, my intention is that there should be enough bosses that if you do 2 runs in a row, there is a very good chance you're not going to see the same boss twice. Right? Like, I like the idea of there being, like, probably 30 bosses when we get to a much later point, and that will be when we get to the next update. We will get 30 bosses, and that is what the next update will be. We're at, like, 8 or 9, I think, at the moment, total. So we're actually quite far along in terms of just kit designs and rough estimates. So now we're at the stage of developing them, as we saw today, getting the foundations much easier to make them in the future. And then we will get all of them kind of made in a simple form and start getting assets done for them in the meantime as well. Because that'll be what I'll probably be doing a lot off stream and in a more casual format. Yeah, I don't think there's much else. I am dreading a lot of things on my element with some of these designs. We will see how it all goes. But do expect to see, like, a lot of things coming from this. There's gonna be a lot of tweaks. At the moment, we're restricted because we're only working with a party animal, so we don't have as much complexity going on. And I'm gonna say this now, outside of visual improvements, the party animal is probably not gonna change. I actually like how it is currently. The only change I would make is an improvement to its basic attack, where instead of having it as a push direction, I have it as a path to location. So it gets forced to fly at that location instead, until otherwise. So it means that I have a lot more control over it getting to the location I want it to. I also I can show this. We have another enemy currently in the works. I will also be adding them in the near future, and we'll also be having Usagi-san actually in at some point. So do look forward to that. We've got Ellie. This is Ellie. Ellie the elemental bat. This is very much the testing shape language and stuff like that, so the colors aren't actually locked in. This is just what I do with designs early on, is I color each individual part differently so I can kind of use it as a reference point to figure it out. You would love to see what I do with those larger scale visual things. Give me a second. If I go to here, so I showed the Matara one earlier. This is what it looks like during, like, the design phase of it all. So this is what it looks like before I do anything actually properly to it. Yeah, it looks like a fucking monsterish mess because it's making sure I have a clear idea of the imagery and the differences between it all and everything. Whereas, to give a bit better of a side-by-side, this is what it looks like currently. So you can see there's massive changes, but like some of this is to figure out where shadow should be as well. Not so much on this one, but this like kind of general idea. And everything needs to be different so I know what parts of what, even though like you could argue the arms here, they're not actually that much of a different color. They're actually quite different colors. Gonna say this now though, Matara, holy shit, you have a lot of like the very same kind of white on her fucking outfit. Please, I swear to God, when you get a new outfit outside, she does actually have one outfit outside of this, right? She has a casual wear one. That one's a lot nicer. Can't wait to do that. But yeah, this is kind of what we got. I will not deny again, the pinks are a bit weird. Some of it's a bit off still, I'd argue, but I'm actually really overall happy with this. I don't think I'm going to be changing much. But I'm happy with this. I genuinely am. So, can't wait to actually have her in-game. I also will mention, I was convinced by someone. So if we go back to this design doc and I scroll up a little bit, you're just going to see a bunch of crap, doesn't really matter. Welcome to the list of characters that have not been done. So we've got the future ones. Rin is going to be, so I don't know if I talked about this in the roadmap, but the original roadmap was going to be Matara is in the next major update, and Rin will be the one after that, because Rin will come in with the shops, and the shops will also be coming in with the currency. So it works out. She'll be kind of like my flagship character for currencies being added. Her entire kit's around currency. But yeah, so Matara is going to be in the next update. However, we have like 8 characters loosely prepped and designed here. So it became a question of, should I do more than one? And the answer is yeah. So my intention is, at this point in time, we're going to probably be doing a couple more. I have a list of which ones I was going to do. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it was like... Was it Oni? Was it Giri? Was it Giri, Cinder, Matara, and Fuwawa Mokoko? Something like that. Cause yeah. And then we'll do the other 4 as probably the next update after that. So I'm gonna probably put a hard cap of no more than 4 characters will be coming out in these following updates, just because it's gonna take me a long time to get all the assets done for each of them, especially in the case of like Matara. That's a lot of assets that she requires. Mumei's actually not too bad because both her weapon and item are already in the game. Yeah, no, it's a non-feather and forgotten poem are her 2 things, so that's gonna be great. This one's gonna be a nightmare, but also not. I've actually feel like I've taken the correct approach with this, and I've made it easier than it was going to be originally. Because of the assist being literally just you get Fuawa and Mokoko. So it's not more assets there. But the problem is that it's technically have to do 2 idols and 2 sprites, and they're actually very different in a sense from each other with this character. So it's a lot of assets that need to be done, and it's also going to be a duo splash because hey, I hate myself. Cinder and Giri are on the more simple side, I would argue. Not too much going on there that's going to make it difficult. I do like some of the names, by the way, of some of the things here. Yeah, no, I decided this had to be the ability for Giri. Yeah, no, don't think I need to explain that more. And then, yeah, no, we've got Neurosummer as well. Technically, also Vidal in there as well. as a bit of a humorous joke, I'd argue. Because originally the list had them together, and I was like, how am I going to have both of them? And then I just was like, randomly, I was like, oh, imagine if she just throws him as a spinning turtle thing on, like, as the weapon. And then I decided to basically make, what is it? It's the cross from, Vampire Survivors. That's going to be what the Beetle, is going to be. And also, I felt like it was hysterical purely because of the Fillion story. We all know, well, we should. Anyone that knows it where Beetle just got fucking actually thrown by Fillion, and it was really funny while he was dressed as her model. And then, yeah, here's the next lot of characters that are currently, like, up for when I'm gonna get them done. I don't know. I feel like I have a nice list there, and I don't think I'm gonna be expanding that list for a good long while. I don't really want to, unless more VTubers turn up and stuff like that. But I do, like, I want to stress, this is not the end list. This is not the final list. There is a lot more that I want to do. This is just the ones that I know I'm going to get done in the immediate future. So please understand that. I've said this many a times, is if you do not see your VTuber in the list of characters to be added or is in the game or anything like that, do not think it's me saying I hate your VTuber. It's me saying I have a lot of fucking shit that I need to get done. These are the ones that I'm like, my brain has clicked on and gone, yes, I need to get that done. And I will not deny at this rate I'm going to just get all of VShojo done. Like, holy shit, man. There's not a single person there at VShojo that I don't think is awesome. And I don't, like, watch on every once in a while at least some of their highlights or something. But yeah, no, we're at a stage where, like, there's assets that still need to be finished. There's a lot of little things that need to be replaced here and there. And all that sort of stuff. We'll see how that goes moving forward. But this is what we've got currently, and the bosses are the thing that I want to make sure that, like, I want all of this list that I have currently done before I really start looking at adding the next characters and working on any other mechanics that need to be improved upon between now and next time. I also will promise this is in the near future, being slightly ambiguous with that, I will be doing up the roadmap properly and making a proper roadmap that can be referenced as to what to expect and what updates and when updates will... what update will be next. I'm not going to say when an update will be, but this is just the aims of what's going to go into those updates. That's the idea. But yeah, we're gonna finish up here, I think. I have yapped for almost 4 hours, and I am definitely feeling my voice starting to go, and I'm tired, and I just kind of... At this point in time, the programming is just going to be a lot of copy pasting and writing some basic stuff down. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break, come back, and I'll get some more done this afternoon. Probably more assets done, honestly. And we'll be back on Saturday. Or Friday, or whatever the fuck it is for you guys. Saturday for me. We'll be back then, and we can look at the stuff again. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. You're awesome. Stay awesome, and I hope to see you again next time. Till then, goodbye.